You know, when we think about deforestation, it's easy to just picture a single tree falling. But that's not the end of the story. Not even close. It's actually the very beginning of a massive chain reaction. So let's follow that ripple effect and see just how deeply the loss of our forests unravels the systems that keep our whole world in balance.
And that's really the key here. We have to think bigger. Deforestation isn't just a local problem. It's the systematic takedown of a huge, vital piece of our planet's operating system. And when you do that, you trigger this incredible cascade of effects that we're going to walk through one domino at a time. All right, our first domino to fall is a big one. It's global. It's the climate. Let's dig into how clearing forests ends up wrapping our entire planet in, well, a thick heat blanket. Okay, so check out the contrast here. A healthy, living forest is basically a giant, natural carbon storage unit. I mean, a single tree can lock away carbon for more than 100 years. But when that tree is burned, all of that carbon gets released in just a few hours. It goes from a storage unit to a straight-up carbon bomb. And this breaks down exactly how that happens. The system is built for storage. Trees are amazing at pulling CO2 out of the air. The break in that system is when we burn the forests, releasing it all in one huge burst. And the consequence? That heat blanket gets thicker, trapping the sun's energy and driving everything from melting ice caps to way more intense storms.
So that heat blanket isn't the only thing making the air thick. Our next domino brings the consequences much, much closer to home. We're talking about the very air we have to breathe.
The method responsible for a lot of this is called slash and burn. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a really cheap, really fast way to turn a forest into farmland. But that speed and efficiency, it comes at a staggering cost to our air quality.
You see, the natural system is for forests to help keep the air clean, but slash and burn just shatters that system. It pumps out this toxic soup of gases and these tiny invisible particles called PM 2.5 that can get deep, deep into your lungs. The result is immediate and it's severe, a phenomenon they call the haze. It can blanket entire regions, forcing schools to close and sending thousands of people to the hospital. From the air we breathe, let's turn to the life that breathes it. Now we're going to look at what happens to the countless species, the plants and animals that call these forests home.
Just let that number sink in for a second. Over half, more than 50% of all known life on land lives in tropical rainforests. That just shows you the immense, almost unbelievable scale of what we stand to lose.
Before all this, what you have is this vast connected ecosystem. Everything is linked. But afterwards, you get something scientists call habitat fragmentation. The forest becomes just a collection of small, isolated islands, which completely severs migration routes and shatters the food web. And here's the tragic end game of that. These little forest islands, they just can't support what are called specialist species. You know, think of an animal like a poison dart frog, or a specific orchid that needs a very particular diet or climate to survive. When they're trapped on these islands, they can't find food, they can't find mates, and that leads directly to extinction and the collapse of the whole local system. So all this loss of life above the ground has a direct, devastating impact on the health of the ground itself. Our final domino brings us down to the soil and the critical role forests play in managing our most precious resource, water. I love this quote because it just paints such a perfect picture. A healthy forest floor isn't just dirt, it's a biological sponge. It's alive. It absorbs and regulates the flow of water, keeping the soil from just washing away. And the difference is just night and day. Before, you've got tree roots holding the soil together, and that spongy layer of leaves soaking up rain. After, heavy rain just hammers the bare earth, creating what's called surface runoff. The water has absolutely nowhere to go but sideways, and it takes the soil with it. And this is where it gets really scary really fast. With that biological sponge gone, that massive volume of runoff completely overwhelms rivers. It causes flash floods that can destroy homes, roads, and bridges almost instantly. So there you have it. The dominoes have all fallen. What's so important to see is that these aren't four separate problems. It's one system completely unraveling. You get a carbon bomb warming the planet, a toxic haze choking our cities, an empty forest stripped of its incredible life, and a barren landscape that can't handle rain. Every single one of these impacts is connected. It's a chain reaction of collapse. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. If all these systems are so deeply linked in how they fall apart, what does that tell us about how they might be linked in their recovery?